Hey everyone, today we're doing a video where we're going to talk about table etiquette and some tactical tips in the back half of the video. So it'll just be a very small primer. I'm going to do some more of these in the future, particularly on tips, tactical tips, and that'll go more in depth on this one. But we'll just get three tactical tips that I like out of the way, and we're going to talk about some table etiquette. So table etiquette, what do I mean by this? Well, I basically just mean how you should behave at the table. And I think if you're polite and nice and sort of just an affable kind of person, I feel like it leads to more games because people are more likely to seek you out for games rather than if you act like a douchebag. So tip one, don't be a douche. Don't be a braggadocious douche and a sore loser whenever you lose at the table. Always come out and compliment people on their good moves and their decisions at the table. I think that just works. If they get a really good roll, just say, "Wow, that was great. That was a good combat." So the things you should try to avoid doing is blaming luck. I know that's hard because really we're all sort of slaves to the D6, but blaming luck makes you sound like a sore loser. If they go, "Oh, hey, man, I got so lucky in that combat," you can go, "Yeah, dude, that was crazy, but I mean, it worked for you, right?" So if they bring up the fact that they were lucky, you can then agree with it. But don't start with, "Oh, man, you were just lucky." Like, that's it. If you hadn't rolled like 4 6s on that attack, I would have totally won that game. Makes you sound like a sore loser. Just let it go. When someone makes a move at the table, and you think, "Oh shit, that's a bad move in my favor," instead of going, "Oh, did you have to make that move, man? Jeez," go, "Wow, that was a great move. I don't know what I'm going to do in response to that," or, "Geez, that's going to hurt me in the long run, but good job." So just compliment the person, and just try and be civil, basically, at the table. Even if things don't go your way, even if you want to go have a hissy fit, leave the table and go have a hissy fit elsewhere. Not during the game. Finish the game, shake the person's hand, say "good game, thanks for the game," and then go off and have your meltdown somewhere else, basically. If you must. Preferably try not to do it at all, but out of earshot of the person who just rolled you is a much better way to do it. Also, try to avoid being like, "Haha, you're such a loser. I absolutely annihilated you." No one wants to play with someone who's going to shit on them when they lose. So yeah, that's just sort of like some general table etiquette stuff. Another bit of table etiquette. So tip 2 of table etiquette: don't touch the opponent's stuff unless you ask permission first. Preferably, try not to touch their trap at all. Just let them move their stuff. If their dice are in the way of a roll, just go, "Hey, mate, can you just move that away from me? Thank you." And then if they go, "Oh, no, you're fine. Move the dice yourself," then you can move it. If you want to look at a miniature because you think it's got a really cool paint job, go, "Hey, is it cool if I pick up and have a look at that miniature?" before you actually touch anything. And also, obviously, that goes for any gaming implements they use: tape measures, dice, any kind of that stuff. Don't touch any of their stuff without permission. Don't pick up their army list without permission. Just ask first or wait until they offer. Obviously, with an army list, if you want to check something on their army list, absolutely, you're going to have to ask at that point. So, yes. That's a bit of a rough one. Oh, and of course, a final little bit of thing: don't cheat. I know it's tempting sometimes when you're getting your ass kicked, but just don't cheat. I know that people out there would be like, "Well, no shit, fams," but the amount of people I've seen cheat over my gaming career is a bit on the staggering side, to be completely honest. It wasn't super often, but it was often enough that it was an issue. So, don't cheat, even if you really want to. Just let the dice fall where they may. And make sure that you read your rules correctly so you don't play incorrectly. Cool. And then there's one final point of etiquette, the final tip of my etiquette. Now, before I say this, I want to say, if you go, "Vamps, this isn't me, I don't do this," this is not about you then. So just move on with life. But I think the thing is, at the end of the day, I have run into this before. Now, I will say, out of the 100-odd players I've played against, only 2 of them meet this criteria. But for the love of God, practice good hygiene. Have a shower before you go. Make sure you've got clean hands, because no one wants you touching their stuff with disgusting Cheeto fingers or anything like that. Right? Go have a shower before you show up at the gaming club. Put on some antiperspirant, because at the end of the day, when we've got 20 guys in a room together, it's going to start smelling regardless of what we do, right? This is just how it works. 20 people in a room together, they're always going to smell the place up. But we can take steps to avoid stinking the place out. And honestly, no one really wants to play with a stinky guy. If you are a stinky guy, not that I'm saying you are, most of you, 99% of you probably aren't. But if you are a stinky guy, you're going to get more games if you actually have a shower before you go. So that's the final little etiquette tip. So, basically etiquette really boils down to don't be a douchebag, tell your opponent when they make good moves, and just generally try and be a decent person at the table. So nothing too crazy there. Okay, let's move on to tactical tips. So I have 3 tips for you today, and we'll go more into extra tips in the future, how to do specific strategies. But I think these 3 will help get the brain formulated. So tip 1, and this is one of the big ones. Try not to act on bloodlust. Being bloodlusted in a war game is some of the worst tactical choices you can make. It's really bad, because you go, oh man, I just want to have my unit kill something. And you just move in, you kill something, and you're like, okay, great, awesome. Didn't matter what they killed, and then that unit gets shot to pieces, because of course it does, it's in the middle of enemy lines. And then you sort of sit down and you go, oh, I just killed their worst unit, and I used my best unit to kill them. Now my best unit's dead. Massive disadvantage, right? And even on some stuff where it's like, it makes more sense for me to hang back and play defensive using cover, rather than, just having people get shot to pieces in the middle of an open field. Try to avoid open fields. But yeah, ignore your bloodlust. Don't worry if you give into it every once in a while. Everyone does. I did it just a few days ago. I was playing Mantic's Firefight with my son, and for some reason I thought it was a great idea to just run my engineers forward and open fire on one of his units, because I wanted to damage them. I wanted to get rid of their shields. What ended up happening? My engineers got wiped off the field, and in the late game I was like, if only I'd played safe with those engineers, I'd have a really dangerous little unit of guys. So we all make the mistake. Try to avoid it. This is the big one. Try. You probably won't succeed all the time, but if you try, you'll succeed some of the time. Alright, tip number 2. Asking yourself, is this a good move for me? So just taking a pause before you make your move and go, what do I get out of this move? What does my army get out of the move? Now, I know some people will say, well, you move forward and you shoot. That's what it gets out of it, right? But what you should be looking at is, overall, what do I get out of the move? So most armies are generally evenly matched, which means you really don't want to get into a one-to-one trade with the enemy, unless you're the first person to do the trade. But generally, you want to try and take trades where you end up in an advantageous position. So let's take this situation, right? You've got a unit of guys. The enemy has 2 units of guys. You move forward and shoot one of their units of guys, and you kill over half of it. Great. Then their turn rolls around, and they move the full strength unit of guys and then kill over half your guys. And then the weakened unit comes in and maybe finish the job or almost finishes the job. What did you get out of that? Well, you've got a dead unit, so you're already at a disadvantage. And the enemy has a over half dead unit. But, that half dead unit can still go around and do objective markers and stuff like that. So overall, you're actually a net loss in that situation. Even though you were the one to open fire first, you're at a net loss. And so that's what you kind of got to weigh things up with. You've got to go, what do I get out of this situation? Now, if we take that situation again, we put an objective marker in, maybe you end up getting victory points. So it might be worth sacking the unit to get extra victory points so that by the time the end of the game rolls around, maybe those extra 2 victory points that you got from seizing the objective marker win you the game. And that's great at that point. But that's going, what do I get out of this? Now, if the answer is, well, I get a dead unit, maybe that's not the best move. So always question, what do I get out of this? What does my opponent lose or gain if I do this? Do I end up at a worse position by taking this engagement? Or by pushing this engagement? And if the answer is yes, maybe rethink the move. Sometimes you will end up in a situation against an equal player, and the answer is, well, I need to unbalance the position in order to gain some sort of possible advantage for the future. You're in a bit of a no-win scenario then. Then it comes down to who rolls better, the luck. The luck thing again, guys. Comes down to the dice again. Not the strategy. But having good strategy is always a good idea. And finally, number 3, probability research. Now, what I mean by this, I don't mean you have to sit down, you have to go through like 30 spreadsheets, right? That's not what I'm talking about. What I mean is just understanding some basic probability of how things are going to go will inform your decisions so much better than if you have no clue. Like if you're just a guy who goes, I'm just going to roll these dice. Oh, look, I got a miss and a hit. But being able to go, okay, well, these guys I'm shooting with, they hit on 3s, which means I've got a 2/3 probability to hit an enemy unit. Then looking at their unit and going, well, their unit hits on 5, so they got a 3rd, which means this could be a good engagement for me to take. Probability would be quite good here, right? So just being able to be like, yeah, I've got better probability here, or they've got better probability. And this also leads into another little snippet. Stay in cover. Anything that alters the probability in your favor, you want to use. So if cover makes it so that suddenly they're hitting on 6s instead of 5s, or you get a better armor save or whatever happens to be the case, then great, right? You continue as normal. But yeah, make sure you stack probability in your favor and stack probability against them. It'll really come in handy. It's not a magic fix though, obviously. Sometimes you pick up the dice and you'll have 5 attacks and you hit on 2s and you'll roll 5 1s. There's not much you can do about that, but knowing that you've got a very good chance of destroying an enemy unit because you're hitting on 2s, much better. Alright, so there's my little tip video right there, my little table etiquette and 3 basic tips. We will go into more detail on tips in the future, but this is just sort of a primer. So each one of those tactical tips that I've just talked about will have their own individual video to sort of go more in depth on them. Well, that's all I've got for today, so I'll catch you guys on the next one, which should be good. Hey, have a good one, guys. Catches. Hey everyone, Outro Vamps here. I'm just here to say that I have my Discord up and running, and if you'd like to join it, that'd be awesome. I put stuff on there that no one else gets to see. That includes just like sneak peeks of certain videos and other things like that, artwork, and that kind of crap, as well as I put my miniatures up there that I paint fairly regularly. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, drop into the Discord, have a chat. The link is in the description. You guys have a good one.